Hello again, everybody. This is Dr. Deborah, your How to Love innovator, trainer, coach, curriculum developer. I told you that I would come back with a part two about Club Shay Shay's, Shannon Sharpe's, all those S's, interview with Cat Williams. And I talked about how much grace and how much acceptance and non-judgmental he was. And I thought I'd come back and just tell you how that is loving. So I'm just going to be kind of textbook. Hopefully, I have the same kind of excitement I had before because it was really exciting just to remember what I saw when I saw the interview. In other words, how Shannon responded to Kat's just no nonsense understanding of the world and people and things he quote knows. So the first thing is he Shannon was open. He asked questions and then he let Kat tell him what he thought. And now you can tell he was struggling with the things that Kat was saying, but he just said, when it really hurt, he said, oh, he would say that, but he never cut him down, shut him down. He did say, you might get me in trouble, but that was good too, because that was honesty. He was saying, man, Kat, that's hard, that's sharp, that is cutting, biting, but okay. And he allowed him to continue. And of course, Cat, being Cat, he didn't bite his tongue and said everything he had to say. And Shannon listened. He listened, and when he found a way to ask a question based on what Cat was saying, he would ask him a question, of course, then he would come back. And, that's how it's supposed to go. When you are, because his goal was to complete the interview in a way that everybody wins. Cat wins, he wins, and then we win. And anybody who Cat implicated, they have their own way of dealing with it. I'm going to talk next about Dave Chappelle because Dave makes a great example of how Chris Rock responded to Will Smith at the Academy Awards. That's loving too. And I'm going to talk about Dave. So when you're trying to stay in relationship with someone, you can speak your truth, but your whole point is connection. Cat was being true to what he believed, what he knew, and Shannon was being true to what he believed and what he knew, and that is this is your opinion, this is how you saw it, this is how you responding to it, and that's why you're here talking to me. So I'm going to do my job and listen to you. And of course, he was being real and authentic, and when he responded to Cat, but at the same time, he was letting him know, man, this is hard stuff you're putting out here. That's honesty too, and that is when somebody's telling you what they believe, you first of all you don't know, okay, you don't know, and so your only job is to listen, make sense of it, and not even to try to pick it apart. Because when you try to pick what people are saying apart, that is not bringing y'all together. First of all, let me say this: if you're talking to someone, or second of all, that when they are lying, they know it. It is not your responsibility to call them out. And I'm not saying Cat was lying. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying your job is when somebody is talking to you, your job is to listen and help and make sure you understand what they're saying to you. Shannon did that remarkably well. All right. So I came back again to break it down how this works, because too often we think it's our job to not let somebody quote get away with something, and that is not your job anyway. You can't not let them get away because it's getting away. They're doing what they want to do, and you can say something about it, but it's not going to change anything. So what's more important, that you be right or that you learn how to listen and accept people where they are and let them deal with the consequences of what they say, period. And then of course Shannon said, man, you get me in trouble, I ain't gonna have a show after this. And that was his way of saying, man, this is hard stuff, but it's what you think. So when I invite somebody to the show, I'm inviting them to tell me their truth. I'm inviting them to tell me how they see it, because that's all they know, no matter whether it's true or not. And Cat basically calls some people liars. Whether it's true or not, that is not Shannon's job. If I were on his show, he asked me a question, my job is to tell the truth. And if I don't tell the truth, that is not his problem. His job is to say, okay, help me understand that. Or there are a lot of people wondering how, blah, blah, blah. That's a good interviewer. And when you are in a relationship with somebody and you want to maintain a relationship, that's what you do. I say love is, first of all, a skill that you can be learned, I'm sorry, that you can be learned, a skill that can be learned. And clearly, Shannon has learned the skill of love. He may not call it that, and maybe he does, but I'm calling it that because that's what love does. Love is to hold someone or something in such high regard that you make the necessary sacrifice to stay connected to that someone, something. He made the sacrifice that was necessary. He didn't say, I believe you. You know what? Because I know this and I know that, and I've seen. He didn't do any of that to let Kat know that he was listening to him. He just kept asking questions, and Kat was being very strong about what he believed. He allowed that, meaning he didn't try to shut it down, cut it off, judge it, censor him, none of that. And Kat knew that. Kat is smart enough to know that he wants to have a good conversation with him, but also Kat basically wouldn't have been on it. First of all, Mr. Williams would not have, because I don't know him that well, I don't know either one of them that well. He would not have been on the show if he didn't think he could speak the truth, his truth, because he's seen it happen too many times. So that's the other thing. If you're in a relationship with someone and you're always trying to call them out or make them prove to you that what they're saying is true, then that's really not a relationship. That's something else. When I say relationship, I mean connected relationship. That's how about that? Because everything is a relationship. That is a disconnected relationship because there is no trust there. There is judgment there. And who wants to be in a relationship with somebody where they always got to explain what they mean and how they mean it and how true it is? Nobody enjoys that. So just take a look. If somebody's always questioning everything you say, that means they're calling you a lie. And if they're doing that, then there's a disconnect. And Mr. Shannon, I call him Mr. Shannon now, I sound like a slave girl. Mr. Sharpe was being respectful, acknowledging, accepting, and curious. And that's when you love somebody, you put your ideas, your thoughts, what you think about what they're saying on the back burner because it is at this moment when they're talking, it is their story, it's their narrative, and your job is to listen with open ears, with open heart. That's your job. If you're finding that difficult to do, you might want to check yourself out because that has nothing to do with them. All right. So he was listening, open, curious, honest, all of these. Curious means questions, asking some important questions to make it clear what he's saying. He did that. I'm sure there are some other things that's not coming to me right now, but I wanted to come back on and just show and just explain how I saw Shannon doing the things that says, I love you. I am open to you. I'm using my skill as an interviewer to allow you to be exactly who you are. And while I am struggling with it, because it was clear, I am still here. I'm here with you. I'm here in it. Okay. So now he also asked Cass some questions, and you could tell by the way he responded that he wasn't being as forthcoming as he was when he was talking about other things. And those things were about him and his family in that situation. He probably is in therapy and probably cannot speak about it the way he wants to, which was his way of loving his parents. He told you something, he told us rather, something about something that happened between him and his father, but he did not go into, if you heard him, he was not as specific. And Shannon, smart man, smart interviewer, skillful interviewer, could tell that he was not ready to talk about those things the same way he was talking about the other things. And so he did not force him to. That is allowing, that is accepting, that is respecting. Hear me, guys, when I'm saying when you know how to love somebody and you want to stay connected to them, you don't press them harder than you can tell. If you care, if you're connected to them, or if you're watching them, if you're listening, if you listen to not only what they're saying but what they're doing, how their expressions are, if you're paying attention, and we see this stuff all the time, if you're doing that, then you can be respectful, honest, genuine, gracious without saying, I'm going to let you off the hook right there. No, you just don't say nothing and keep listening. I think those are the main points I wanted to make. And maybe there's something else that may come up at another time. But I was just so excited about how Shannon Sharpe responded to Cat Williams's responses. And as hard as it was for him, he did not stop the interview and say, "Oh man, oh we got to change the subject." None of that. He just allowed him to be who he was. And I'm sure I haven't looked at any follow-ups because I don't know what anybody else is saying. And quite honestly, I shy away from that because most people have a hard time loving like this. Most people have a hard time allowing somebody to do their thing without them trying to correct them. Most people do. And I'm hoping that Mr. Sharp would continue his way, his method of listening to people, uh, just making sense of it for whoever is listening and not trying to interrogate someone into saying what some things that they're not ready to say or some things that will make things worse, some inflammatory things that will make things worse. Not a gossip column, and I appreciate that. But that's me. That's me. I'm acknowledging that. But I do wanted to honor him again and being just just a master in that interview that he did with Cat Williams. All right, this has been Dr. Deborah, howtolove.us. Dr. Deborah at howtolove.us. Debra is how I spell my name. I am on a mission to teach people how to love and to call it how to love when I see it. And I've just recently started calling it how to love when I see it because I'm trying. I sound like a Southern, don't I? I am trying. That probably sounds Southern too to somebody from New York. I'm trying to find ways, inventive ways to bring your attention to the idea of radical acceptance that love is a skill that you have to learn and it has to be nurtured. And Mr. Shannon, you know how to love.